In the heart of Obage, a village surrounded by ancient forests and a river believed to carry the whispers of ancestors, lived two sisters, Anna and Mara. They were born 1 year apart, yet villagers often mistook them for twins. Their mother used to say that the gods placed them in her womb with one heart, then split it into two. That was before everything fell apart. Anna was the eldest, tall, sharp-featured and fierce. She had a presence that made people pay attention. Mara, the younger one, was gentle, soft-spoken, with eyes that reflected kindness so sincerely that even animals trusted her. The bond between the sisters was famous in Obage. They fetched water together, harvested yam together, cooked together, even slept on the same raffia mat since childhood. People used to say, "If you hurt one, the other will feel the pain." But the elders also say, "Where love enters, blood can forget itself." The disaster began the day Zubi walked into Obage village. Zubi was a traveler, tall, handsome, with a quiet strength that made people curious. His jaw carried the hint of a warrior's lineage, and his voice, deep, calm, the kind that could make someone reveal secrets without knowing why. He came from a distant land, searching for farmland and a place to settle. Obage welcomed him. But no one welcomed him more warmly than Anna and Mara. The sisters met him at the same time during a moonlit dance festival. The drums were loud, the fire cracked in orange sparks, and the dancers moved like spirits returning home. Zubi stood near the edge, watching the festivities with quiet admiration. Anna noticed him first. Mara noticed him second. And that was the beginning of the end. Both sisters felt something shift that night. A pull, a stirring, a blooming emotion neither of them had ever known. They exchanged a single look between them, a look that said, "You feel it too?" At first they laughed about it. Two sisters having a crush on the same stranger. What were the chances? But then Zubi began visiting their compound. He ate their mother's food. He helped repair their father's broken fence. He fetched palm wine with Anna. He husked corn with Mara. And slowly, painfully, it became clear that Zubi's heart leaned in one direction, toward Mara. It showed in the way he looked at her when she spoke, in the way he smiled whenever she entered a room, in the softness of his voice when he said her name. Anna noticed it, all of it, and for the first time in her life, she felt something sharp twist inside her chest. Something ugly. Something she had never known before. Jealousy. A jealousy so deep it felt like poison, and one day, it became poison. But the ancestors were watching. Because no blood crime goes unpunished. And this was only the beginning. The jealousy that grew in Anna did not appear all at once. It crept in slowly, the way night creeps across the sky, little by little, until darkness is all that remains. At first, Anna tried to pretend nothing had changed. She forced smiles, laughed at jokes she did not find funny, and offered to accompany Zubi and Mara whenever they went to the farms or to the river. But every time Zubi looked at Mara with his gentle eyes, Anna felt something inside her crack a little more. Even the villagers noticed. When Zubi walked with Mara, the children whispered. When Anna followed behind them with a stiff smile, the elders exchanged worried glances. One evening, after Zubi escorted Mara home and promised to visit again in the morning, Anna sat alone outside the hut. The moon was pale, thin like a sickle, casting a dim glow over the compound. The night insects hummed, but she did not hear them. Her mind replayed the same moment over and over again. Zubi brushing a leaf from Mara's hair, his fingers lingering just a second too long. Anna clenched her fists until her nails dug into her palms. "Why her?" she whispered to the empty night. "Why not me?" Inside the hut, Mara hummed softly as she braided her hair. She was excited, glowing, hopeful, completely unaware of the storm brewing in her sister's heart. The next morning, Zubi returned as promised. He greeted the family and asked Mara to walk with him to the river. Mara beamed. Anna stood silently in the doorway watching the two of them leave. When they were finally out of sight, something in her broke. She walked into the kitchen hut. the one where their mother stored herbs, spices, and old remedies, and she opened the clay pot that held the most feared of them all, Induca root. The root their grandmother had once warned them never to use unless they wanted to send someone to the ancestors before their time. Anna stared at the twisted black root, her hands shaking. Her mind fought itself. Don't do it. He loves her, not you. She took him from you. She's your sister. She will marry him. You will be alone. Something cold and dangerous settled in her heart. By the time Mara returned with Zubi, laughing and carrying fresh fish from the river, Anna had already made her decision. That night she offered to cook the family meal. Mara, tired from the long walk and river chores, happily agreed. Anna stirred the pot carefully, adding the herbs her mother taught her to use, and one she was never meant to touch. Just a pinch. Enough to silence a life in the most peaceful way. When dinner was served, the family ate. Anna made sure Mara's portion was the largest. She watched her sister closely, pretending to sip her own food. After a few minutes, Mara touched her chest. Anna, I feel dizzy. Anna forced her face to remain calm. Maybe you are tired, Mara. Lie down. Mara tried to stand, but her legs buckled. Their mother screamed. Their father rushed forward. Zubi, who had stayed for dinner, grabbed Mara and held her tightly as her body trembled. Anna, help me, Mara whispered. The words pierced Anna's heart like a spear, but it was too late. The poison had already taken hold. Mara's breathing slowed. Her eyes dimmed. Her fingers loosened around Zubi's arm. And then she was gone. The wailing that filled the compound shook the night. Their mother tore her wrapper. Their father fell to his knees. Zubi held Mara's lifeless body and cried until the ground beneath him was wet with tears. Only Anna remained quiet, silent, frozen. But deep in the shadows behind the hut, a faint whisper echoed. A whisper only Anna heard. Murderer. Anna's blood went cold. The ancestors had seen everything. This was only the beginning of her torment. The morning after Mara's death, Obage village moved like a place touched by a curse. Women covered their heads with wrappers, men spoke in hushed tones, and even the wind seemed to slow down in respect for the tragedy that struck the two beloved sisters. Zubi did not leave Mara's side. He sat next to her wrapped body long after the others had gone home. His eyes were red, swollen, empty. The villagers whispered that he had lost the woman he intended to marry. Some even said they heard him praying to the ancestors to return her soul. But the ancestors were no longer silent. As the burial ceremony began, Anna stood stiffly beside her mother. She watched as the elders sprinkled white chalk on Mara's body, chanting ancient words meant to guide the dead safely into the ancestral world. Anna's heart pounded painfully in her chest. At one point, her mother reached for her hand. Anna flinched. Fear. Guilt. Something darker pulsed through her veins. When Mara was lowered into the earth, the skies darkened without warning. Thunder rumbled, and a cold wind rushed across the burial ground, lifting dust and dry leaves into a swirling circle. The villagers gasped and stepped back. A restless spirit, the chief priest muttered, his eyes narrowing. The earth rejects her. Anna felt her knees weaken. That night after the burial, Anna returned to the hut. The air inside felt heavy, suffocating. She lit a small oil lamp, but its flame flickered violently as though fighting against an unseen presence. She sat down on the mat she once shared with Mara. That was her first mistake. The moment she closed her eyes, the room grew unbearably cold. The flame of the lamp bent sideways, then burned straight upward as if reaching for something unseen. Anna opened her eyes and froze. Mara was standing in the corner. Not Mara in flesh, but a pale, dim figure with eyes darker than night. Her wrapper hung loosely as though floating in water. Her feet did not touch the ground. Anna's breath caught in her throat. Mara? She whispered. The figure tilted its head slowly. Her voice came like the rustling of dry leaves. Soft, broken, painful. sister." Anna let out a strangled cry and scrambled backwards until her back hit the wall. "No, no, please. Mara, please." Mara stepped forward without moving her legs, sliding across the floor like smoke. Her eyes were full of sorrow, not anger. Anna began to shake uncontrollably. "Why did you do it?" The words were calm, but they pierced through Anna's heart like a blade. Anna covered her ears. I didn't kill you. I didn't." Mara's spirit moved closer. "You used Induca root, the poison of traitors? You killed me, Anna?" Anna screamed. The lamp went out. The hut plunged into total darkness. She rushed outside, tripping over a stool, falling onto the cold earth. Tears streamed down her face as she looked behind her. No one was there. But the chilling whisper remained. "Confess, or I will never rest." For the next week Anna did not sleep. Every night Mara appeared, at the doorway beside the fireplace at the edge of her bed. Sometimes crying, sometimes staring, sometimes whispering her name. The villagers began to notice Anna's fading face and trembling hands. Her mother asked what was wrong, but Anna only shook her head violently. Zubi avoided the sisters' compound. He could not bear the grief. But even he felt something strange, like a cold presence following him whenever he passed Mara's grave. The elders warned that if a spirit is restless, it means the living world still holds an unpaid debt. But Anna refused to accept it. She thought she could hide her sin. She did not realize the dead have patience the living do not. And Mara's spirit was far from finished. Days turned into nights, and nights stretched into unbearable silence. But for Anna, silence was a luxury she no longer knew. Every sunset brought with it a new wave of torment. Mara's spirit followed her like a shadow dipped in sorrow, whispering, crying, calling her name with a voice that sounded both broken and accusing. Anna stopped eating. She stopped bathing. She barely spoke. Her once bold eyes were hollow, her skin pale, her lips dry and trembling. The villagers whispered, "Mara's death has broken her." But the truth was far darker. One night, after another terrifying vision of Mara at the foot of her bed, Anna ran outside screaming. She collapsed by the family's cooking hut, shaking violently. Her mother held her, confused and weeping. "Anna, my child, talk to me," her mother cried. Anna only sobbed harder. The commotion woke the entire compound. Neighbors rushed over. Even Zubi, who had avoided the sisters' home since the burial, arrived with worry etched across his face. He knelt beside Anna. "Anna, what is happening to you?" Anna looked at him, really looked, and something broke inside her. Tears spilled down her face as she reached for him with trembling hands. She won't leave me," Anna whispered. "Every night, she comes. Every night, Zubi." Zubi frowned. "Who?" Anna's lips quivered. "Mara." People gasped. Some stepped back in fear. Only the chief priest, who had been silently observing from a distance, did not flinch. His eyes narrowed in recognition. He spoke calmly. "A restless spirit refuses peace when wrong has been done. Anna, what burden do you carry?" Anna shook her head violently. "I did nothing. I loved her." Suddenly the wind shifted. A cold gust swept through the compound, strong enough to put out all the lanterns. Darkness swallowed the space. A few women screamed. Children clung to their mothers. Then, from the direction of Mara's grave, came footsteps. Slow, heavy, echoing. But no feet touched the earth. The villagers froze. A pale glow rose near the edge of the compound, faint at first, then growing brighter. The light took the shape of a woman. A familiar shape. A familiar wrapper. Familiar features. Mara. Her spirit floated above the ground, face calm but filled with grief. A soft, haunting humming followed her, the same lullaby the sisters sang together as children. Anna let out a piercing scream. The villagers scattered, falling to their knees, some shielding their faces, some chanting prayers under their breath. Zubi stumbled backwards, tears instantly filling his eyes. Mara, my love. Mara's spirit did not look at the villagers. She drifted closer, her hollow eyes fixed on one person only. Anna. The spirit's voice carried like wind moving through an old calabash. Sister, why did you kill me? The entire compound erupted into confusion. Anna fell forward, clutching her head. No. Don't say it. Don't. The spirit continued, voice trembling with hurt. You placed poison in my food. You ended my life with your own hands. Confess, so I may rest. Anna shook violently, sobbing into the dirt. Zubi stared at her in horror. Anna, is this true? Anna's cries became louder, rawer, more desperate. I didn't mean to. I loved him. I loved him, Mara, she cried, pounding the ground with her fists. I wanted him. I wanted him to choose me. I didn't want to lose. A heavy silence fell. The villagers stared at Anna in disgust and shock. Mothers pulled their children away. Men clenched their jaws in anger. Anna lifted her head slowly. Mara's spirit hovered inches above her, tears of light rolling down her ghostly cheeks. Anna whispered one final plea, fragile, broken. Sister, forgive me. Mara's spirit leaned forward, touching Anna's forehead with a cold, glowing hand. Her voice softened. I cannot forgive what you hide, only what you confess. Then she vanished. Just like mist dissolving at dawn. The torches relit themselves. The wind calmed. But nothing in Obage village would ever be the same. Especially not Anna's fate. The night of Mara's apparition changed everything in Obage. No one slept. No one dared whisper her name aloud. Even the forest seemed to hold its breath, as though the trees themselves waited to hear what would become of Anna, the sister who killed her own blood. At dawn, the elders called for an emergency council. The meeting hut filled quickly. Chiefs wearing red coral beads, gray-haired mothers, hunters, diviners, and the chief priest all sat in a tight circle. The air smelled of incense and tension. Anna, exhausted and broken, was dragged before them. She looked nothing like the proud young woman she once was. Her eyes were sunken. Her wrapper hung carelessly around her shoulders. Her feet were dusty, trembling, restless. Zubi stood far behind, arms crossed, face cold. He could not bear to look at her for long. The chief priest rose to speak. Last night the dead walked among us, he said. The spirit of Mara spoke truth before the whole village. This matter concerns blood, betrayal, and the laws of the ancestors. He pointed at Anna. Child of Obage, speak your truth. Did you poison your sister? Anna's lips trembled. She looked around at the faces staring back at her, some angry, some horrified, some simply heartbroken. Her mother wept quietly in the corner. Anna's knees buckled and she fell to the floor. Yes, she whispered. Then louder, her voice cracking, yes, I killed her. Several people gasped. One of the elders slammed his staff into the ground. Anna sobbed uncontrollably. I loved Zubi. I loved him more than I loved myself. And he chose her. Every day I watched them together. Every day I died a little inside. I lost control. I let jealousy command my heart. I did a thing I can never undo. Silence. Heavy. Crushing. Zubi stepped forward, jaw clenched, tears in his eyes. You killed the woman I loved, he said, his voice breaking. The sister who protected you. The one who would have died for you. Anna bowed her head. I know. Her mother cried louder, pounding her chest. How could you destroy your own blood, your own sister? She wailed. The chief priest lifted his staff. By the laws of Obage, he began, a person who takes the life of a family member invites a curse on the village unless cleansed by justice. Anna swallowed hard. She already knew what was coming. You cannot remain in Obage, the chief priest continued. The spirit of your sister cannot rest while you walk freely among us. The villagers murmured in agreement. Anna's mother cried out, reaching for her daughter, but the guards held her back. Anna lifted her head slowly. "Please," she begged, "let me speak to Mara's grave before I go." The elders allowed it. She was escorted to the burial site at the edge of the forest, a place where the earth was still fresh, still marked with white chalk. The morning sun barely touched the ground there. Anna knelt, trembling. "Sister," she whispered, tears splashing onto the soil, "I destroyed you, and in doing so, I destroyed myself. I don't ask for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I ask you, please, rest." The wind blew softly, spinning dry leaves around her. For a moment she thought she heard Mara's voice, gentle, distant, tired. "Go, Anna." Anna closed her eyes and let the wind carry her sister's final whisper. By midday, the villagers gathered to watch Anna's banishment. She was given a small wrapped bundle of food and one flask of water. Nothing more. Her mother fainted. Zubi did not look at her. The chief priest raised his staff. "Anna, daughter of Obage, for taking the life of your blood, you are banished beyond our borders until death claims you. You will never return." The villagers parted, creating a long, silent path leading into the wilderness. Anna stepped forward. Each step felt heavier than the last. She did not look back. No one followed her. No one called her name. And as she disappeared into the forest, the air grew strangely calm, the kind of calm that comes when a restless spirit finally finds peace. Mara had received her confession. The ancestors had received justice. Obage had received its silence. But Anna walked into a future shaped by her own betrayal. A wandering soul in search of forgiveness she would never truly find. The tale of the blood sisters ended with peace for one, and eternal exile for the other.